Hi guys, please don't mind my face. Just go home. I feel fine, besides the fact that I want to go home. And now I have to get another blood transfusion. I know. Mate, so I have to be quiet. Why can't I win? And I know I have to get this resolved. And I know I have to be strong for Elijah.
So both creature monsters have red hands and both are on the board. It's coming from the basement.
It breaks my heart that he's so worried about me. I'm so sick of this. I just want to go home. I'm so sick.
I think so. And he's eating it.
Being away from
So he's an omnivore.
go home. Hey guys, so please excuse my appearance. I'm not dressed very nicely, but this is real life right now. I was just discharged from the hospital Friday. It is now Monday, so I'm here to give you guys a quick rundown of what happened. My normal tripod is not available right now, so you're gonna have to bear with me here and excuse the background, our old TV and messy dresser. This is just real life right now. I have to actually get my camera serviced, so if you see a little white dot somewhere, this little white speck, that's why I'm getting it serviced. Okay, so let's just jump into this. Excuse Elijah in the background, he's in his room playing. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. You guys know that I am TTCing. I'm trying to have baby number 2. It's been a very difficult journey for us because we've been having trouble conceiving, yet I haven't been diagnosed with anything that's wrong. So it's like, well, what is going on? So I've been having different things done. I've been doing different things, trying to see if that works. You guys know I've been on 3 cycles of Clomid, unsuccessful cycles, and so I finally got the nerve to go back to the doctor. But before I did, May 2nd, my period decided to come by itself. This is exciting because you guys know that I'm super irregular and it never, you know, wants to come when it's supposed to. May 2nd, when I got my period, it was weird. I didn't have any cramps, and I'm calling it my period, but you'll see why I'm doing this later on. So it was weird. Normally, if you know me personally, you know that my cramps are so strong that they're like so intense that I'm in a ball with a heating pad. They're bad. But this time, I didn't even know it was coming. I actually, TMI, didn't have anything on, and I was just like, I went to the bathroom, I was like, okay. I guess this is happening. Then the next day, it was weird. It had stopped, it was spotting, and I was like, could this be implantation? I got all excited. I'm like, could this be that? And then the next day, it was like, no girl, we're here. And it was super heavy ever since then. I'm talking changing the pad. Again, this is a TTC hospital update, so it's TMI. If you're a guy, you probably don't want to watch this and you might want to click out now. But anyway, it was super heavy. Changing the pad every hour or less. It was that bad. Super big blood clots. I couldn't even sit comfortably without feeling a gush. I couldn't sleep without getting up in the middle of the night thinking that I leaked out. I had to sleep with like 3 or 4 pads, and I'm talking the maxi super jumbo pads. I had to sleep with like 3 or 4 of them sometimes. So yeah, it was super heavy. I don't know if you guys remember last year, the beginning of last year, I actually had a long period. Okay, well that doesn't look great. This headband like never stays on. I had another long period. It was actually for longer than this one. It was 28 days, but it wasn't as heavy as this time. This is why, because a lot of people are like, well, why'd you wait so long? You know, you should have went in way when, you know, in the beginning and everything. If I look down, it's because I'm looking at my calendar so that I can give you guys accurate dates because I document everything. So by cycle day 18, I was feeling really weak. I had like shortness of breath. I had this throbbing headache. I didn't have really an appetite. If I did, I would eat something and then I couldn't finish it. Like it was terrible. On May 19th, I decided to call my doctor and see if I can get into an appointment with him. He was not there. He had just left, and they said, we can get you in tomorrow. What they didn't tell me is that it was with the nurse practitioner. So I go in on May 20th. By then, it had gotten a little bit lighter. And when I say lighter, I mean like it was still like medium. It just wasn't like as heavy like all the time. I'm telling you, anytime I would sit for a while and I'd get up, I'd feel like oh shit, I need to go to the bathroom. So the 20th, she did blood work. She asked me, was I pregnant? Did I take a pregnancy test? I said no. So she said, you know, we're going to take some blood work for a pregnancy test. She even mentioned, did I have any sexually transmitted diseases? And that I can tell you no for a fact. She said, you know, we're just gonna test for that because sometimes there's like an infection and that's why you bleed so much and whatever. I made an appointment that following Monday, which was the 22nd, with my OB, my normal one. He looked at my blood test results. He's like, you're not pregnant, no sexually transmitted diseases. He said, I don't even know why she didn't give you anything to stop the bleeding, because she wouldn't give me anything. So I was still bleeding by Monday. He said your blood's at a 6.1. I don't know if I said that. He said it should be at a 12 at least. Some people are normal, like around a 9 or a 10, but yours is definitely, you know, low. They start to get concerned if it's lower than an 8. He said you're symptomatic enough and your blood count is low enough that you could go and be admitted to the emergency room and get about 3 units of blood. I said, do I have to go? He said, well, I'm gonna start you on this progesterone and it'll stop the bleeding. It should stop the bleeding. If it doesn't within a couple days, then by Wednesday, because that's when he wanted me to get more blood work to see where my blood was, he suggested going into the hospital. He never told me, I'm sending you to the hospital, you need to go to the hospital. He said, if you feel that you need to, then you should go. I'm not a doctor. I don't know about anemia. I'm like, he said it's gonna go up by itself once I stop bleeding, so I should be fine. And I thought I was gonna be fine. Wednesday, I go and get my blood work done. He calls me on Thursday. Wednesday the 24th, and then Thursday the 25th, he called me and he says, your blood count went down to a 5.6. How are you feeling? I told him I was feeling the exact same but worse, like a couple degrees worse. And he said, again, you're symptomatic enough, your blood count is low enough, you could go and be admitted to the hospital. That was Thursday, and I didn't want to. I had stopped bleeding. That's another thing. I stopped bleeding on Tuesday, the 23rd. So my period lasted for 22 days. It stopped. I thought I would be okay. Then Friday comes and I had this sharp pain in my right side. And I'm like, what is going on? Of course, I started Googling, do I have like a UTI? I'm thinking, do I have kidney stones? There's something wrong with my kidneys, because that's like where the pain was. I was using the heating pad, it wasn't working. So I just didn't know what was going on, and it was that pain was telling me I need to go to the emergency room. So Friday night, I went to the emergency room when she got off of work. It was like about 4 o'clock. They did a whole bunch of tests when I got in. They gave me fluids. They checked my blood again. They checked my urine. They came back and they told me that my blood was a little elevated. So they thought that I had they said there's suspicion that there's a blood clot in my left lung from the progesterone. And I'm like, I just started the progesterone, you know, Monday, and it's only Friday, and I've only taken 9 pills. So could it really be that so quick? And they're like, yeah, you know, you never know. So I'm like, great. And I don't think that I really realized the dangers of a blood clot in your lung or the risks of having that and what you had to do to get rid of it. They didn't really explain it to me. I didn't think it was that serious. Then they told me that, you know, you could potentially die from blood clot in your lung because they start in your legs, they move to your lung, and then it can go to your brain. And I'm like, okay, so this is serious. Being that I had that blood clot in my lung, they decided to admit me. They took a CAT scan of my chest to make sure, to confirm that I actually did have the blood clot. The ER doctor comes in and he tells me, yes, you definitely have a blood clot. Then they admit me. I go upstairs. I'm, you know, annoyed because I have to stay there because I went in for one thing and it's like another thing happened. So what now? Meanwhile, this whole time I'm not bleeding. It stopped. But they did tell me to stop the progesterone, being that they believe that's what's caused the blood clot. They start me on a blood thinner called heparin. The blood thinner is used to break up the clot in your lung. They said it might make you start bleeding again, having your period again. There's a possibility. They said if you do start, then we're gonna have to stop it. We're gonna have to do something else. This is all Friday night. So I said, okay. Saturday morning, I wake up and a primary doctor, not primary, but a general doctor comes in. He comes in and he says, you don't have a blood clot. I don't, God bless you. I don't think that you have a blood clot, you know? And I'm like, okay, well, what's going on then? They said the pulmonologist will be in, which is, if you don't know, the lung doctor. So I'm like, okay. So I'm waiting for this pulmonologist to come in. She comes in and she's like, oh, let me listen to you. She's like, yeah, I most likely you do have a blood clot. And I'm like, okay. To my understanding now, this is a serious thing and nobody knows for sure if it's there. It's most likely there. Oh, I think you have one. So I don't know if you can understand my frustration at this point. Then the hematologist comes in, which is like, you know, a blood doctor, and she's telling me about like what your blood count should be, and you know, she's explaining to me about anemia and all that happens with that and all this stuff. And I'm asking her like, did you see my blood clot? Do you deal with stuff like that? She's like, no, I didn't see it. I'm just here because, you know, you lost a lot of blood, blah, blah, blah. She's like, are you still bleeding? And I just feel like either not in my charts right, or they don't communicate, or I don't know, but nobody was on the same page. Nobody knew anything that the other one knew. Meanwhile, my OBGYN never came in to see me. Being that he, you know, suggested to go in, I called him before I went in. I thought, you know, he'd come in and see how I was doing. He didn't come in, not once. Neither did any other OBGYN. So everybody's telling me that I have to talk to a pulmonologist and OBGYN, and they have to talk to discuss what can go on once I leave the hospital and they prescribe me blood thinners for 3 months that could cause, you know, menstrual bleeding. And being that I was literally hemorrhaging from down there, there's an issue. But nobody came to see me. So that was Saturday. I'm like, oh, you know, do you think I'm going home today? Since, you know, whatever. They're like, oh, we want to keep you again. Because Friday night, I forgot to mention, Friday night I got 1 blood transfusion. Then Saturday I needed 2 more. So I got 3 in total that weekend. May 28th, I got discharged. They told me that day though that when I was asleep, my heart paused. Well, actually they told me that my heart stopped. But apparently, you know, my heart paused 2 times. One time for 3.8 seconds, the next for 4.1 seconds. So they were not really concerned with that. They told me that a cardiologist might come in to see me, and that was that. But I still got discharged like around 12 o'clock. So I'm like, yes, I'm fine, I'm great, I get to leave. I still felt a little weird. I don't know, it was weird. Like I felt a little off. They prescribed me blood thinners, which were not the heparin that I was getting. The whole time I was in the hospital, I didn't bleed from the heparin, which was a IV based blood thinner. You can't get that in pill form. So they prescribed me Eliquis, and I was to take 2 twice a day for the first 7 days. And then after that, it's just twice a day. 1 pill twice a day for the next 3 months. So by Monday, I got discharged Sunday. By Monday, I started spotting. It was brown. I was like, oh, you know, brown, old blood, I should be fine. It was really light. It was like here, then not, then, you know, spotting. Then by Tuesday, it got heavier and I started passing blood clots again. But I thought that I was, you know, gonna be okay because Tuesday I had 2 doctor's appointments. I had one with my primary, which she really isn't my primary. She works at the primary's office, but she's the nurse practitioner. And then I had a gynecologist appointment. So I'm like, great. She's gonna tell me some good news. He's gonna tell me something to stop the bleeding. I'll be fine. I don't have to lose any more blood and go back into the hospital. So I go to her. She tells me, well, you need to go back to your OBGYN. She said, it's crazy that all this happened, but he should be the one to, like, he has to tell you what you can take. I can't tell you what you can take with this blood thinner. She gives me 2 referrals to pulmonologists, and she said, you know, you need to follow up with them also. So I go to the gynecologist. He walks in like super defensive, in defensive mode. Before anybody said anything, my mom was with me and I had Elijah. Elijah was up since 5 o'clock that morning because, you know, I have to get up early. We only have 1 car. Looks like 2. We have 1 car, so I have to get up early in the morning, take G to work, to have the car for the day, and that means I have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and that means I have to wake my son up at 5 o'clock in the morning. He's 4, okay? He is not used to waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, maybe like 6 or 7, but not 5. So needless to say, he was a Krabby Patty that day. But anyway, my doctor, I'm not gonna say his name, but he walks in. I wish I would have recorded him though, so you guys could have at least heard him. but he's super defensive. And it's weird because nobody said anything. He walks in, he's like, so you went to the emergency room. How many units of blood did you get? I tell him 3. He said, okay, yeah, because it was pretty low. He said, so what you need to do is go follow up with those doctors that you met there. I said, nobody came to see me in the hospital from OB. He said, well, that's who you need to talk to. I can't manage this. You're high risk. I don't deal with stuff like this. And I'm just like, but you're my doctor and you are the one that suggested I go into the hospital. You are the one that prescribed me the medicine to stop the bleeding. You are the one who was giving me medicine to induce my period this whole time, who was giving me, you know, different fertility stuff. That was all you. So if you don't specialize in this, he said, yeah, this is a high risk case. I don't understand. That's fine. If you don't, you know how to deal with it, that's fine, because not everybody knows how to do things, right? But you could have at least referred me to one of your colleagues or somebody that you know, because I'm pretty sure he knows somebody who knows how to specialize and deal with this high risk situation. But no, he was just super, and you should have heard the way he was saying it. Then Elijah turned off the light and he was like, oh, come on. He had no patience. And obviously, should Elijah have turned off the lights? No. Nope. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Oh my gosh. Okay, you did. Alright, now let me finish. Okay. No, I want to tissue low lip. Get out. I'm trying to film this video. Okay, bye. After I was rudely interrupted, look at my headband. This is how it happened. I'm just gonna leave it there. So that's what happened when I went to go see him. And I asked him, so is there anything you can give me now to stop the bleeding? Like, I'm bleeding now. He said, no, you probably need to go back to the emergency room. He was like, I can call up some people maybe and see if they can help you, but I can't help you. I don't manage this. This is his hands too. He's like, this is high risk. I don't deal with stuff like this. And I just felt that was just, like I said, if he doesn't know how to do it, that's fine, whatever. But you don't have to talk to me like that, number one. And it's just, I don't know. Needless to say, I have since switched from him. I will never step foot in that office again. Moving on. So that night, Tuesday night, I bled so much overnight. So much that, again, TMI, it was everywhere. I wore 3 pads to bed, even though I didn't think I really needed to. Something told me to. I wore 3 and it got still on my underwear, like all up my back. It was bad. So it was like I had like an accident, but with blood. So Wednesday I decided I need to go back to the emergency room before I lose too much blood and I'm going to have to need another blood transfusion. So I go to the emergency room, but a different hospital. I think I said this in my little quick update that I had. This time my primary care doctor was there because he's affiliated with that hospital. I went to the other hospital because my OBGYN was affiliated with that hospital and I thought that he was going to be, you know, helpful. But my primary care doctor is amazing. I didn't even call him and tell him that I was going. He didn't even know why, but he was there every step of the way. He came to see me every day that I was there. You know, he was there late at night. He's awesome. Anyway, I get to that emergency room and they say, okay, stop taking the Eliquis right now. Some of the nurses were like, you know, this is a really high dose. Like, why are you taking this much? This is probably why you bled so much, because this is a really high dose. I'm like, okay, like that's what they told me to take. And she's like, yeah, I would not take it right now because I was still due for like another dose. They said, yeah, let's just hold off on that for now. So they took my blood and it was at an 8.8. I was super happy. I mean, that's still low, but I was happy. Actually, it was at an 8.7. When I got discharged from the first hospital, it was at 8.8. So now it's at an 8.7 because, you know, I did lose a decent amount the night before and I'm just like, please don't need a blood transfusion. So mainly because you have to be admitted for that. They did an EKG when I first came in. This hospital that I went to, the second one, was amazing. They were so nice. They were understanding. They were good with explaining things. Every doctor that came in to see me was amazing. So anyway, I ended up getting admitted because I was bleeding. It was too late in the day to call a pulmonologist and an OB to get together. Again, those two are the key with this situation because the OB, their go-to thing is progesterone, which is, you know, a hormone that makes your body think that you're pregnant. So it stops the bleeding. So they can't give me that medicine without talking to the pulmonologist because I'm on the blood thinner. So they don't know. They told me to stop taking the Eliquis, but they put me on heparin. That's what I was on the first time. So I'm on heparin the whole time. My period actually lightens up a lot since I haven't been taking this Eliquis. And I'm like, okay. And I'm in the hospital. I'm like, guys, the main reason why I came in is because, you know, I was bleeding super heavy. But now since you took me off the Eliquis, like, it kind of, you know, slowed down. And I think I'm fine. Can I go? They're like, no, we're gonna keep you for, you know, more observation. So, you know, they're like, at least tomorrow, which was Thursday, they're like, you know, we want the, you know, the pulmonologist and the OB to come in and see you. So the OB came to see me and she actually did an exam on me, which was super awkward, guys, because I mean, I've had exams before when I was like, you know, bleeding, because that's what happened at the OB. But this is a lady that I never met before, and she called just some random nurse from the hall, and it was a guy. She's like, can you hold this flashlight for me? And I'm just like, great. Like, so he's holding the flashlight, she's doing an exam. Meanwhile, there's an overhead light, which I thought would be fine, but nope. But anyway, so she's like, you know, there's really not that much blood in here. She said, it looks like it's your normal menstrual. You know, she said, you probably were getting your period, but the Eliquis amplified it. So, okay, well, that's good to hear. But then what was that other bleeding? You know, that was for like a month. I feel like I shouldn't be getting my period, you know, because I just bled for so long. She actually is a infertility specialist. So she said that she thinks that I had PCOS. And I know a lot of people have been commenting and saying, have you ever been told you have PCOS? Do you have PCOS? Up until that moment, nobody's ever told me that I've had it. I've had multiple ultrasounds in my ovaries, different tests done, and it's all came back negative for PCOS and endometriosis. So I'm like, oh. She said, yeah, but you know, just lose a little bit of weight, it'll get better. She said, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what it is. She said, we're gonna do some tests to find out. You're gonna get an ultrasound and we'll go from there. But she did tell me that since I was on the blood thinner for the blood clot in my lung, that I can't TTC for a year. So that was a little depressing because you guys know I've been trying for so long. So to be told that I can't even try again until next June, that was a little heartbreaking for me. But I gotta get my body better, you know. So I go for the ultrasound tech, which is, I get it, but it's not the same at every place. She couldn't tell me anything that she saw. So I'm in my room waiting for the OB to come back and talk to me, and meanwhile I can see my, like, you know, what the tech writes in. You can see that online. The hospital has a website, so I'm looking at it and it says it sees some cysts, but nothing crazy. This looks normal, that looks normal, everything looked normal. So I'm like, okay, like, does that mean I have PCOS? You almost want a diagnosis of something. It sounds like so weird, but you almost want a diagnosis of something because at least you can work to fix it. But me not knowing anything that's wrong, it's like, well, what do I do then? So I was like, so do I have it? Because if then, now I know what I need to do. Like, I need to take these steps to do this. She never came back because, you know, she was gone for the day. The pulmonologist comes in and he's asking me all these questions, and he's like, it just seems weird. Like, you know, you don't seem like the type of person that would have a blood clot in your lung. You're young, they start in your legs, you didn't have any leg pain. I'm like, no. He was like, no swelling, nothing. He's feeling my leg. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna go look at your scans and I'll be back. And, you know, I'm gonna schedule you a probably a CAT scan for my own. He goes out and I'm like, he's probably not gonna come in tonight, because it was by the time he came, it was like 5 o'clock at night. So I didn't expect him to come back. But my general or primary doctor, he comes in and he's like, did OB come back and talk to you? I said, no, you know, I did the ultrasound. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go look at it. While he's talking to me, the pulmonologist comes in, and they know each other, obviously. He's like, oh, hey, how you doing? They talk or whatever. He goes, you know, Dr. Blank. He's like, I don't think she has he was like, I'm not convinced. I don't think that it's a blood clot. He said, I really don't. He said, I want to take my own CAT scan, but I don't think it's a blood clot. And I'm just like, yes. I was just looking at him, and then my general doctor, he was just like, yeah, no, I didn't think so either. He said, that's why I was trying to, you know, figure out stuff, because I wanted to prove that it was. I didn't want to say, yeah, I think it is, or yeah, it might be. He said, I want to prove that this is exactly what it is. I want to give her a definite answer. And he said, I couldn't find one. That's why I'm happy you came in. So he was like, you know what? You get a CAT scan in the morning, we'll go from there. That was Thursday. So then Friday Friday morning, the nurse comes in and she's like, hey, so last night when you were sleeping, your heart paused a couple times. And I'm just like, what is it about the night before I'm supposed to leave? My heart pausing. Like, am I too excited? What is going on? I'm like, okay, so what's that mean? She's like, you're probably not going home today. They want to do an EKG, an echocardiogram, and maybe monitor your pulse ox when you're sleeping. So I go, I get the EKG done. That was normal. I had the echocardiogram. That was all normal. So my primary doctor comes in around like 9 something at night. He's like, so did you talk to the cardiologist after the test or whatever? And I said, no, you know, she didn't come back, but you know, I did get it done. He's like, yeah, no, I saw it and everything's normal. He said it could just be like a little case of sleep apnea. He said, I might need you to do a sleep study where like, I go somewhere and I sleep for like one night. It's like an outpatient thing, or they send me home with a monitor or something to see like what's going on while I'm sleeping. So meanwhile, he told me to sleep on my side, don't sleep on my back, and to sleep like on my stomach if I can. He also says, he goes, an OB didn't come back, right? And I said, no. He said, okay, well, I looked at it. Although I'm not an OB/GYN, he said, everything looks normal. I said, so do you think I have PCOS? He said, no. At this point, I'm just like, God is so amazing. It is just crazy. Yes, I was in the hospital for what? Just put them both together like a week. And, you know, couldn't find answers at that hospital. Then I have this amazing primary doctor who he wants to find out everything. He doesn't want to stop until he knows everything that's wrong. I wish he could be the doctor for everything. So I'm just like, it's just so amazing to me. I just honestly, I'm sorry if you guys are like not religious. I'm not super duper religious, but I just had to praise God because it's just amazing to me. Anyway, at that point, he asked Elijah, well, when do you want mommy to go home? And he goes, right now. So he was like, you got it. And he discharged me at like 9:45 at night. We had to wait for the discharge papers. By the time we left, it was like 10 something. By the time I settled in, it was like 11 something. And it was just so good to be home. Basically, my diagnosis is no blood clot. So basically I was on blood thinners, what, for fun? I don't know. I mean, the fact that they didn't know for sure, all the doctors were iffy whether or not I had a blood clot. I feel like they should have done more tests and I shouldn't have been put on Eliquis. As of right now, I am on iron because, you know, my iron was really low. And he gave me allergy medicine, Zyrtec. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. I do have to follow up with him. And then I have a gynecologist appointment with a new gynecologist. I actually have 2 just to, you know, get second and third opinions. And being that I don't have a blood clot, guys, I can still TTC. But I just have to, you know, wait until I talk to the doctor and see what's going on. I'm just super excited that I don't have to take a blood thinner. I don't have to be super careful for the next 3 months, you know, because when you're on blood thinners, that's pretty serious. You know, you gotta be careful if you fall, if you get cut, because you just won't stop bleeding. So that's what happened. I hope this can help somebody. Make sure you take care of yourself enough that, you know, you don't end up like me and in the hospital, because I think that's my thing. Like, I don't take care of myself nearly as much as I should. That needs to stop. Yeah, so I have stopped bleeding, if you wanted to know. So I don't know for sure. I can't tell you what that was. That was just me basically hemorrhaging from my vagina for 21 days or 22 days. Then I got my period May 29th to the 3rd. So that was like a normal period. When I get my period by itself, that's normally what it does. You know, it normally is for 6 or 7 days. I was still spotting a little bit yesterday, but nothing crazy. We're not like, you know, trying right now. I'm just gonna try to give my body a little break until I can see my doctor. But yeah, thank you guys for all of your support and your prayers and your positive thoughts. It means so much to us. You do not know. If you have any questions, leave them down below, or you can private message me on Facebook. I usually get back pretty quickly because I turned on my notifications now, or Twitter or Snapchat. All those links will be down below. Don't forget to follow me on there to see updates and stuff like that. Thanks guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video, which it might not be good quality because, you know, I have to send this camera in. But anyway, bye.